Ever wondered if everything you've heard about male sexual desire is actually true? I used to. When I was younger, I believed all the stereotypes men are always in the mood, men only care about looks, and if a guy isn't chasing intimacy all the time, something must be wrong with him. That's what the movies, the jokes at school, even some of my friends made me think. But then life happened. I went through moments where things didn't line up with the story I had been told. Times when I felt exhausted or disconnected and intimacy wasn't the first thing on my mind. Moments when my partner looked at me with confusion, wondering if I had stopped caring. For a long time, I thought I was broken. And then I realized maybe the story we've been told about male desire is broken. A while back, we explored female sexuality on this channel, and many of you asked for a deeper dive into male sexuality. So here I am sharing not just the science, but my personal journey too. Because male sexual desire is one of the most misunderstood topics out there. And the truth, honestly, is far more complex and way more human than the myths. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that men are always in the mood, always thinking about sex, always ready, no matter what. And for years I felt the pressure of that. There were nights when I came home after a long day completely drained. My body wanted nothing more than sleep, but a voice in my head whispered, "You're a man, Alex. You're supposed to want this all the time." That whisper turned ordinary exhaustion into shame. I started to wonder if something was wrong with me. The hardest part wasn't the low desire itself. It was the silence. Lying next to someone I loved, unable to admit I was too stressed or too tired, afraid she'd think I didn't love her anymore. That silence made me feel trapped in my own relationship. Here's what I've learned since, yes, research shows men tend to report more frequent sexual thoughts, fantasies, and initiation than women. A meta-analysis on gender and sexuality confirms it. But that doesn't make us immune to the same factors that affect everyone else. Stress, fatigue, a lack of emotional connection. And here's something that really surprised me: testosterone. The hormone everyone calls the magic button for male libido isn't nearly as powerful as people think. A study from the University of California, Santa Barbara found that testosterone levels alone don't fully explain male desire, especially for men in long-term relationships. Hearing that was like breathing again. I wasn't broken. I was human. If you've ever felt your desire drop, please know this: it doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you real. I used to think I was strange because I couldn't separate my emotions from my desire. When my relationship felt tense, when there was distance between us, I noticed something: my desire almost disappeared. At first I thought it was a flaw. Men are supposed to want sex no matter what, right? But the truth is, my sexuality was deeply tied to how safe and connected I felt emotionally. There was a time when my partner and I went weeks barely speaking. We were stressed, each caught up in our own storms. And during that time, I had no interest in intimacy. Not because I didn't care, but because my heart didn't feel close enough to open my body. It turns out science backs this up. Research shows stress, mental health, and relationship satisfaction are major drivers of male libido. When men feel emotionally secure, valued, and connected, desire grows. When we feel ignored, criticized, or unsafe, desire fades. The painful part is that men are rarely given permission to admit this. Society trains us to suppress emotions, to equate vulnerability with weakness. That cultural script doesn't just hurt us, it starves our relationships of the intimacy we crave. I remember the first time I admitted to my partner, "I don't feel close right now," and that makes it hard for me to want sex. Saying it out loud felt terrifying. But instead of rejection, I was met with understanding. And slowly my desire returned, not forced but genuine. So if you've ever believed men only care about the physical act, let me tell you. For many of us, the emotional bond matters just as much, sometimes even more. Here's another myth I used to believe: if passion fades in a long-term relationship, something is wrong. When I first noticed intimacy becoming less spontaneous after years with my partner, I panicked. I thought love was dying. But over time, I discovered something else. Desire doesn't disappear, it evolves. The honeymoon phase always changes, but the bond can actually deepen if we nurture it. I learned that small acts, holding hands, expressing appreciation, honest conversations, reignite a spark more effectively than waiting for fireworks to return on their own. Now let's talk about the idea that men's desire is uncontrollable, just raw biology. I used to internalize this too, almost excusing myself with, "That's just how men are wired." But the reality is far more layered. Yes, hormones and attraction matter, but so do emotions, self-esteem, cultural pressures, and how supported we feel. When I felt valued and emotionally connected, my desire flourished. When I felt unseen or dismissed, it withered. Reducing male sexuality to biology alone does us a disservice. It strips away our humanity and oversimplifies what is actually a complex dance of mind, body, and heart. For me, realizing that my desire wasn't uncontrollable, it was relational, changed everything. It meant I had agency. It meant I could cultivate intimacy instead of chasing a stereotype. So here's the truth. I've come to understand, male sexual desire isn't about being always in the mood. It isn't just physical. It isn't a steady flame that never flickers, and it isn't uncontrollable biology. It's a living, breathing part of who we are, shaped by stress connection, love, and the stories we've been told about masculinity. If you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or even ashamed about your desire or your partner's, I want you to know you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. What you feel is human. Talking about this took me years. Sharing it now feels freeing. My hope is that it brings you some relief, maybe even a new perspective on yourself or the men in your life. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to subscribe for more conversations like this. And if you want to learn about female sexual desire,